Hello, it's the Life Calling Coach, Coach Athena. Welcome to our Wellness Growth Reading. And today, God has a word for you that's going to help you get through this next journey that you're on. The weather has changed and the season is bursting with goodness. So you should be ready to take advantage of what God has in this next season in spring. Okay, so we're going to get right into it because I already did the cards, I already pulled them, I already prayed over them, and let's see what God has to say. So as usual, you know we are reading from our tarot, the Handcrafter's Tarot, okay? This includes everything you need, even a healing potion, crafting ideas. I love it. So our card today, our growth reading for today is, can you see it? The Three of Air. The Three of Air. Okay. The Three of Air. And the herb associated with the Three of Air in this deck is echinacea. Okay. And so echinacea, you know, is good for immune system. Oh, and that's appropriate for this time of season, isn't it? When everybody is so concerned about catching stuff from people. Also wanted to let you know that in this deck, air represents swords, okay? So we're really dealing with the Three of Swords, or the Three of Air. And air, the skill that we're dealing with when we deal with air is learning. God wants you to learn something. So the air represents swords. We have the Three of Air. Okay, you see that? In our regular deck, it would be Three of Swords. And the associated herb is echinacea. So let's see what God has to say. Speak the truth about your heartbreak. Speak the truth about your heartbreak. Be the medicine that heals the pierced heart. Healing from grief takes time. You know, in this season, a lot of people are dealing with grief because unfortunately, we have lost a lot of people due to COVID, health issues. Some people just went because it was their time, but grief is grief, regardless of how it comes about, and it is a difficult emotion to deal with. So, our Three of Air is reminding you that healing from grief takes time, and it says, speak your heartbreak. Don't sit there in silence. You got to talk about it. You know, you got to say, I hurt. So let's see if we're going to break down the card now, okay? 3 echinacea flowers pierce the sky on a cloudy summer day. An abandoned barn brushed. An abandoned barn. I'll put this up so you can see it while I'm reading. There we go. An abandoned barn with a rusted roof stands in the background. I don't know if you can see it in the picture. Okay. The sun and rain battle for position. Bursts of light are followed by short showers. Tattered petals of pink flowers fall as the plant bends toward the ground to offer its seeds. New buds emerge from beneath the thick green layer of leaves. What a beautiful sight. This sounds like a summer storm. You know, when you have a summer storm and you may have a thunderstorm or the sun is still shining. Yeah, that's what that sounds like. Heartache leads to self-knowledge. Heartache leads to self-knowledge. It doesn't take anything but a broken heart to get you in touch with yourself. If you ever remember the first time you got your heart broken, I think many of us will never forget our first heartbreak. It lets you know who you really are. How you deal with pain shows you who you are. Heartache leads to self-knowledge. You may be confronted with an agonizing reality. Truth hurts. And you may find yourself standing in a situation that you're like, really? Really? Really, Lord? Really? This is what you want me to deal with, this, really? And that reality may be too much for you to bear emotionally. And you may find yourself shutting down, sad, crying, angry. Wild echinacea, a potent medicinal that once blanketed the prairies of North America, is now endangered. We may never again experience an abundant fields of electrifying pink flowers. Why is that? You remember we talked about last week how we take nature for granted now? Everywhere you turn, they're building a house, and I'm like, really? Well, what about the 20 houses that's empty down the street? Okay, I'm just saying. We may never again experience the wild, abundant fields of electrifying pink flowers. See things as they truly are. See things as they truly are. That means take off the rose-colored glasses and look through the clear lens. And accept the loss. Remember when I told you about my process of see, agree, and accept? Accept the loss. Healing lies in your ability to learn from devastation. And see, that's the thing that most of us are afraid of, is the devastation. You're like, I'm not doing this because what if I don't get it? What if it's taken away from me? What am I going to do if it's taken away from me? And then you stand there with a choice. Because God gives everybody the same choice. Here I stand before you, two paths, life or death. That's whether you lose somebody or not. We all have a choice. And your healing lies in your ability to learn from devastation. So whatever it is you think has devastated you, and that to the point where you no longer want to live, God has a lesson in that for you. And you're being able to move on and live a full, healthy life depends upon you learning what He wanted you to learn from that devastation. Echinacea remedies increase resistance to infection and build a strong body. Embracing painful truths leads to resilience. Embracing painful truths leads to resilience. And running away from painful truths lead to addiction, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, sexism, I mean not sexism, but maybe sex addiction, sexual compulsion, let me use that word. All so you don't have to face the truth. It's going to come around and hit you in your face before you leave this earth. because we never escape it. All you're doing is putting it off. And in the meantime, you're just making your path much more hard and uncomfortable. So do you want a hard, uncomfortable life, or do you want the blessings, the abundance? What a choice. Okay. Seek out strong allies who will help you through the grieving process. Find comfort in your sorrow. Sometimes God intends for us to feel sorrow for a certain reason. Because if we just always feel what it is to have and have and have, we will take it for granted. Not understand that it can be taken away from you. When you realize it can be taken away from you, then you appreciate it a little more. I want to take a little better care of this because, I don't know, it may not last forever. Echinacea is a slow-growing plant. That means sit with your grief as long as it takes to get through it. Not run from it. Get through it. So, how do you move forward and craft with echinacea? Let's see. Find expression from your heartbreak. Write your story. I love that because you know what? That's what I did. I wrote my story. First time I got my heart broken, I wrote my story and made a book out of it. Crafting number 2. Buy only cultivated echinacea. When you heal the earth, you heal us all. Okay. And the third way, I like this one. Embark on a meditative journey to the prairies where echinacea once flourished and harvest medicine for your grief there. I like that. I like that. That's like going into a meditative state and you allowing the spirit to kind of just feel you in that moment. And, you know, it reminds me of the Wizard of Oz, you know, when they went through the field of the purple flowers. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. You know, you're out of the woods. Oh, let God take you there. Okay. So our bridge for this week. Is the Page of Cups. Page of Cups. Okay. The Page of Cups on my card signifies a male under 30, direct and brutally honest, works in a creative or artistic field. I mean, if you look at the young man in the picture, right? I mean, look at him, right? He's vibrant. Look at the colors he has on. Okay. And it looks like he has a message. There's a fish in his cup. He looks like a well-to-do man. He looks like a young man who has ideas, and I have the world ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? You know, when we're at that age, it's like that, not quite 30, but 28, 29, it's just like, oh, wow, the world is ahead of you. You have a different kind of mindset during that time. Anything is possible. And that's the energy you need in order to bridge this 3 of air. Because you're going through some grief, right? And you're going through some heartbreak. And you need to know that regardless of what you're going through, you know, you got this Page of Cups, that vibrant energy of creativity and youth, and anything is possible to bridge you through the grief. On the other side of the grief is that field. That field of pink flowers, Ignatia. Let the Lord take you to Oz. Okay? That's what I get with this card. I do. I get the whole Wizard of Oz feel, because it was all about what was possible. You understand? That's what made that movie so awesome back in its day, because it was about what was possible. Boy, if you can hold on to what's possible, oh, you can live forever. Ooh, that's a word. Thank you, Lord. Ooh, that's a word. So we're going to move on from there, because that's the bridge. And of course, you know, we got our growth solution. Our growth solution. What does it have to deal with? Every single time, our growth solution, every single time is what? The light. The light. With my orange. I'm still in my sacred energy. I've been pairing it with different things. Look, I got on my bracelet from Danielle today. See my bracelet from Danielle? So I've been putting that energy in. That's why I buy her bracelets, because it works. I can work the beads in. She uses the real crystals. And so I can, when I need to attune to a certain chakra and balance myself out, I can put on a specific bracelet, wood earrings, the color. You got it? All right. So your growth solution, what is your growth solution? Grief makes you feel like this is the end of the world. I don't want to be here no more. I just don't want to be here. That's what grief makes you feel. Heartbreak. I don't want to be here no more. But that little childlike hope inside you, whew, that Page of Cups, is enough to say anything is possible. You know that? Anything is possible. And when you know anything is possible, you know what happens? Everything turns to light. Everything turns to light, because God is the light. You understand? So how do you put that in work for yourself? I work to improve myself. You've just come through a major heartbreak. You have had your heart ripped out of you, and you feel like there's nothing left. You got to be good to yourself. You have to love yourself when nobody else will. I work to improve myself. Embrace all, not just the pieces that are comfortable, not just the parts I like, all that life brings to me. I'm going to say it again. Embrace all that life brings to me. Not just the things that are comfortable, not just the things I like, not just the things I want to acknowledge. All. That's adulthood. I'm sorry. We don't get it to be pretty. Adulthood is not pretty. I told my son that. Welcome to adulthood. It's not pretty. But you have to be willing to embrace it all to get through it. And transform darkness into light. That grief can take you into a dark place. So that's why you need to have allies, like it said. Your spiritual allies, your angels. Okay? Praying over you while you're grieving, so that the darkness doesn't seep in and try to take your soul. Because they will. Okay? And this is important, this last part that I'm going to read to you, because sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to heal. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to grieve. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to be happy. I allow myself to grow and become stronger. Listen to the words. I like the word choices that they use, because I allow myself to grow and become stronger. And how do you do that? By giving yourself permission to grieve. Grieve your loss. It was a loss. Allow yourself permission to grieve it. And then once you've grieved it, you pick up your Page of Cups. You could pick up your childlike manner. Go get your lollipop. So let's go through the poppy fields. Because all things are possible. Because everything turns to light. So this is the Life Calling Coach, and I encourage you to live on purpose and not by accident. I thank you so much for listening and following my wellness growth readings. I wanted to let you know that from this point forward, starting in March, the readings will be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, The Life Calling Coach, where you can, on my YouTube channel, The Life Calling Coach, where you can view the entire reading in its entirety. I will be sharing snippets of it on my social media platforms, but the goal is for you to like, share, and subscribe. And you can get me on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Also on Twitter, I'm Calling Coach. You can get my books. So if you're the type of person who wants to do your coaching journey one-on-one at home by yourself, I have tools. This was the first book in the series called What Are You Rooted In? Planting Seeds of Purpose for Rejection. It's a workbook and journal. I'm going to open just a few pages for you to look at. So I share my story in here. See, there's spaces for you to write. There's questions. You have goal sheets in here as well. Here's a goal sheet, see? Everything you need to do and have your healing journey one-on-one at home. What are you rooted in? This second book is already out. It's What Are You Rooted In? Planting Seeds of Purpose for Anger. Yes. Guess what the third book is going to be? Planting Seeds of Purpose for Grief. That will be out this year. So I encourage you to keep following the Life Calling Coach, because there is so much that God has that He wants me to share with you for your healing journey. I know that sometimes mental wellness is something of a very touchy subject for people, but today a lot of people are struggling silently. And I ask you to remember that when you cut somebody off and you flip a finger to somebody, instead, maybe you can just say, you know what, you need to get over. You know, and I'm going to share a story with you, and then I'm going to leave this alone. Okay, because I was in the Family Dollar one morning, and you know you'll be rushing and you're in your hurry. And I was in line, but this gentleman came up and stood like on the side. And I said, I'm in line. And I was going to stay in my space, you know, until I got to the counter. And I looked at the gentleman. The lady in front of me was holding up the line because something was not priced correctly. I didn't get irritated. I just said, you know what? I let the man go. I said, go ahead. I could have just continued to stand my ground. I'm in line. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to let the man go. Because the other lady was, you know, like holding, she had issues unresolved. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. So sometimes you just have to take a moment and just think. It's like, okay, what would I need in this moment? Or how can I make somebody else's load just a little lighter? And something like letting somebody go in front of you in the line seems so simple, but could go so far for that person, you know, especially when you know you're going to get a lot of people who are going to be mean. You know that. So imagine a refreshing person who is nice. Oh, you're being nice to me? Wow, that really must be special. See? Put a smile right on their face. So I thank you again, and I encourage you. I encourage you to live on purpose and not by accident.